2013, there's going to be no product coming to the market. That's when our rental rates are going to rise and when our prices are going to rise. So unless something gets in the way of where we're heading, there's going to be a real lift in the residential real estate market. And as much as it pains me to see these guys buying these $100 pieces of property, even higher than that I've seen in some places, I suspect they're...
I mean, you're talking $100 a square foot land price.
Yeah, per buildable square foot, sorry. Yeah, per buildable foot, when really you can't make any sense out of the numbers unless it's around 75. I suspect that those guys are going to be right. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't go there. It means that I try to get there in a different way than they've gotten there. And our company has mitigated risk over the years by doing joint ventures. We have joint ventures with banks and people who own properties, major institutions all over the place. And what they do is they put their property into a pool as their equity contribution, and then we do all of the development, and then we sell. And that way, we're able to develop property without taking the property risk, and that's certainly a good way to mitigate the risk. But I do think there's going to be a lift, even though there are a lot of factors that say the business is getting much more expensive. I think there are more factors that are saying that we're probably not looking at a bubble here right at the moment.
And with regard to the public sector, do you have anything to add, Stephen? I'm not looking for sort of praise for Harper. You said that the public sector could muck things up if they were to do unwise things. If you had the ear of policymakers, what would you tell them to do other than back off?
Well, I think the big challenge for quality of life in this city is paying attention to infrastructure and public transportation. I think the bottleneck for a limitless price increases would be our public transportation doesn't compare to sort of New York or Paris or world-class cities. The gridlock is bad. They're going to have to give some real serious thinking to how do we fix these problems, and whether they're talking toll taxes coming into the core or this, they try. I don't know how it's working in London. But or you're just allowed one car. If you live right in the center of the city, you can just have one car. There's going to have to be some really sort of broad attention to how the city is able to function and work and be livable. And this is beyond sort of return on investment and prices and all the other stuff. It's not a great city to get around by way of public transportation. And I think that the billions of dollars have to be put into that, and however that gets raised and funded, I think that's going to be the ultimate challenge for the city, not to sort of continue to grow at a great rate.
Okay, we're sort of moving to the time when we'd like to get some questions from the crowd, but I'd like to go around once more and ask for any last bits of advice that you would offer to investors in real estate, whether commercial or residential. I guess I'd like to start with Dori.
Well, I think that when you look at the public markets, there's definitely opportunities to buy good quality companies with good quality management, with people that's been around for a long time with track record, and indirectly invest in real estate. Only, though, if you look at it as you look at the real estate investment. If you look at it as a stock investment and you want it to go up tomorrow, then I have no promise for anybody, because I think that we are in the real estate business, and our real estate happens to be publicly traded. But we haven't invented a magic way to get rich just because we're listed as a public company. The other thought that I have, and I got to tell you something, I got to give you a little bit of perspective as somebody who immigrated to Canada in 1997. I've lived in North America since '84. This is a real good place to live. And I think some people don't really, I had an opportunity to live in many places. As one of the reasons we ended up in Toronto is because when we searched at the time for the best place for our kids to live, in North America, in our view, that was the best city to live. That was when we were very young, and I don't think we thought about real estate as the leader. We were doing business all around North America. As it turns out, the best place to live turned out to be the best investment we've ever made, which was real estate in Toronto. But what I would like to see in this city, there is a huge hunger today hundreds of billions of dollars of pension money that is looking for two things, investing in good quality real estate and infrastructure. This city had not had a major infrastructure project like Boston, like Chicago, like many other cities in the world in I don't know how many years. Something like taking the Garnet, putting it underground. And I think that is too bad, because this city should have a 20-year view in order to make it a real first-class city. And I think it's easily financed. The public market will finance a bond for the city of Toronto for 20 or 30 years if the proceeds goes not to increase salaries and to increase spending, but for a major infrastructure project. And it will, unfortunately, cause inconvenience for all of us, but some of the people in the crowd that are young will actually get to enjoy it, so that's nice.
Stephen, do you have any last bit of advice?
Well, I think we all have to lobby our politicians at all levels to echo what Dori said and try to make sure we participate in the right moves to make it a great city. I mean, these two guys are very creative and innovative. I'm just kind of a broker for real estate deals and been in the business for a long time. And I was just thinking, Dori, you just bought Hazelton Lanes, and I was just thinking maybe that Garnet, we could put a Ritz-Carlton Yorkville on Hazelton Lanes, and how many people here would like to buy a unit? I think that might work. So I think it's a great city, and I think the innovative projects, he's probably already thought about that one, but these two guys are here, and hopefully they'll remember me as the agent trying to put this deal together.
You saw that we exchanged cards directly.
Well, they exchange cards directly, which I don't like, but anyway. I'll try to catch them in the back room later. I think real estate is, just an exciting sector, and, Toronto is different than the rest of the country. I think these guys would agree to that, and you go around the world and you've got lots of places to choose to live, and Toronto's sort of on a short list of places that you want to live and have your kids go to school, and the universities. I mean, we're in the greatest university in this country right now, and the quality of education and healthcare and social services and culture and entertainment, it's all in Toronto, and it's a great place to be part of.
Okay, we're sort of ratcheting up the optimism, and you get to have the last word here.
Left. It's true. We did trade cards. We build shopping centers too. Dori buys them, so we figured out a way that might work. We're probably the largest supplier of lots to the building industry in the Greater Toronto Area, and one of the and I'll maybe get to the point here. One of the problems we've had in the lot business is there are no businesses, and it's all because of government regulation, which is not unexpected, or perhaps not unwelcome, even in a lot of ways. But to put a green belt around the city, we have no services in York Region, we have no services in Halton Region. Lots that we were selling for, say, $1,700 a front foot 8 or 9 years ago. As recently as a few weeks ago, we sold for $6,500 a front foot. And houses have gone to 11. There are no houses. If I put some of our lots, and we have a lot of lots, Stephen's been asking me about lots. You can't have any of my lots because we have a stable of builders, and we can't disappoint those guys. I could have an auction at the corner of King and Bay tomorrow morning, and every builder in this city would be there trying to get a slice of my lots. And that's one of the reasons why the high-rise industry is really doing so well. But what I would say is real estate to you, and I know there should be a lot of students here. I went to this school. I was in the first graduating class of the MBA school here in the University of Toronto. And I would say that real estate's a great profession. I've never found one where creative thinking brought better results, and I'd certainly pursue real estate as a career if you had a mind to do so. My daughter's an MBA from Dalhousie, and she always wanted to pursue real estate, but she had the misfortune to marry a doctor in New Brunswick, and so he's a great guy, but.
You mean we need doctors too, not only real estate brokers. That's
yeah,
good.
so she's not practicing real estate, even though she would love to do so. I took her out when she graduated and came back briefly to Toronto to talk to her father, and I took her out to a shopping center that we have at Bayview and Green Lane. And calling it a shopping center is perhaps an exaggeration. It's 12,000 square feet. And I said to her, Leslie, if you did nothing else in your life, if you could figure out how to own something like that, you would be financially secure for the rest of your life. And so it doesn't take a whole lot of result to do extremely well in my business. And I would certainly encourage any of you who are listening to Will or the other real estate people here, pay attention, and perhaps there'll be a great career in store for you.
Okay, let's thank these wonderful speakers we've had. It's far exceeded my expectations. Okay, the plan now is for people in the room to ask questions. We have a microphone over there, so please raise your hand if you'd like to be recognized.
I have one question lined up here. Just tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Julie Bond, and I'm also a graduate of the school. There's some speculation in Toronto about repealing the double land transfer tax. I just wanted to know what you think that might do to the market.
And who would like to take this one? Steve.
For those of you who don't know, the Ontario government has a land transfer tax. A little irritating as far as I'm concerned. The government puts all their money into general revenues, and when they first instituted a land transfer tax, they said it was to pay for registry system and title, which cost them about $75 million a year to run this. They take in about $2 to $3 billion a year in land transfer tax. So that's a provincial government grab on purchasing property. And I would agree with Dori. All that money should be put back into infrastructure. Miller put in the double land transfer tax. So in 416 you pay a similar tax for purchasing properties, and roughly on $1 million property you are paying a land transfer tax of about 4%. So it's about $40,000. That is a bit problematic because you can't necessarily get your mortgage on that extra. Those are outside of mortgageable kind of proceeds. And it seems, it seems like people have accepted it. Interestingly enough, it's there, it's expensive, and I don't, obviously Ford needs a lot of money now. I don't think it's raising a heck of a lot of money, and I don't see any way that he's going to give that up, which is the 416 double land transfer tax. It should go into infrastructure though, right? I mean, those monies should go into real estate related improvements, which they don't.
We have another question over there. Yep, stand up, tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Arthur Budiran. I'm also a graduate of the school. No relation to real estate, hence a layman's question. And hopefully you could shed light on that. Well, we talked about fundamentals here, and I just want to kind of put a perspective on it a little bit. If we imagine trying to model the real estate market, I don't know if anybody tried to do that. Maybe, there are people who make a living doing that, but if we try to do that, there are fundamentals that go in it that you talked about. But we also know, well, we don't know how these fundamentals exactly influence the prices. And let's talk about residential market, for instance. So the fundamentals that you mentioned was affordability versus, let's say, affluent immigration. That's basically something that would influence it. But if we remember also that a market is based on social activity, and if we throw in a little bit of game theory, could you name me a single one influential player on a real estate market who is not interested in an upward drive of the prices? Because, obviously I ask it because I can't figure it out for myself, any single influential player who is not interested.
I think in the Dori side, you're probably the right person to take this, that in commercial real estate, there's a lot of asset management where you make money upward or downward prices as long as people pay their rent.
But I really think that none of the inflation participant in this